The President of the United States of America, the Honorable Donald J. Trump, hosted the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, for an official working visit in Washington, D.C. on February 13, 2025. As the leaders of sovereign and vibrant democracies that value freedom, the rule of law, human rights, and pluralism, President Trump and Prime Minister Modi reaffirmed the strength of the India US comprehensive global strategic partnership anchored in mutual trust, shared interests, goodwill, and robust engagement of their citizens. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi launched a new initiative, the U.S. India COMPACT, catalyzing opportunity for military partnership, accelerated commerce, and technology for the 21st century to drive transformative change across the key pillars of cooperation. Under this initiative, they committed to a result driven agenda with initial outcomes to demonstrate the level of trust for a mutually beneficial partnership. In defense, highlighting the deepening convergence of US India strategic interests, the leaders reaffirmed their unwavering commitment to a dynamic defense partnership spanning multiple domains. To advance defense ties further, the leaders announced plans to sign this year a new 10-year framework for US India major defense partnership in the 21st century. The leaders welcomed the significant integration of US region defense items into India's inventory to date, including the C-130J Super Hercules, C-17 Globemaster III, P-81 Poseidon aircraft, CH-47F Chinooks, MH-60R Seahawks, and AH-64E Apaches, Harpoon anti-ship missiles, M777 howitzers, and MQ-9Bs. The leaders determined that the US would expand defense sales and co-production with India to strengthen interoperability and defense industrial cooperation. They announced plans to pursue this year new procurements and co-production arrangements for Javelin anti-tank guided missiles and Striker infantry combat vehicles in India to rapidly meet India's defense requirements. They also expect completion of procurement of six additional P-81 maritime patrol aircraft to enhance India's maritime surveillance reach in the Indian Ocean region following agreements on sale terms. Recognizing that India is a major defense partner with Strategic Trade Authorization 1 and a key Quad partner, the US and India will review the respective arms transfer regulations, including international traffic in arms regulations, in order to streamline defense trade, technology exchange and maintenance, spare supplies, and in country repair and overhaul of US provided defense systems. The leaders also called for opening negotiations this year for a reciprocal defense procurement agreement to better align their procurement systems and enable the reciprocal supply of defense goods and services. The leaders pledged to accelerate defense technology cooperation across space, air defense, missile, maritime, and undersea technologies, with the US announcing a review of its policy on releasing fifth generation fighters and undersea systems to India. Building on the US India roadmap for defense industrial cooperation and recognizing the rising importance of autonomous systems, the leaders announced a new initiative, the Autonomous Systems Industry Alliance, to scale industry partnerships and production in the Indo Pacific. The leaders welcomed a new partnership between Anduril Industries and Mahindra Group on advanced autonomous technologies to co develop and co produce state of the art maritime systems and advanced AI enabled counter unmanned aerial systems to strengthen regional security, and between L3 Harris and Bharat Electronics for co development of active toward IRIS systems. The leaders also pledged to elevate military cooperation across all domains air, land, sea, space, and cyberspace through enhanced training, exercises, and operations incorporating the latest technologies. The leaders welcomed the forthcoming Tiger Triumph tri service exercise with larger scale and complexity to be hosted in India. Finally, the leaders committed to break new ground to support and sustain the overseas deployments of the US and Indian militaries in the Indo Pacific, including enhanced logistics and intelligence sharing, as well as arrangements to improve force mobility for joint humanitarian and disaster relief operations, along with other exchanges and security cooperation engagements. On trade and investment, the leaders resolved to expand trade and investment to make their citizens more prosperous, nations stronger, economies more innovative, and supply chains more resilient. They resolved to deepen the US India trade relationship to promote that growth that ensures fairness, national security, and job creation. To this end, the leaders set a bold new goal for bilateral trade Mission 500, aiming to more than double total bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030. Recognizing that this level of ambition would require new fair trade terms, the leaders announced plans to negotiate the first tranche of a mutually beneficial multi sector bilateral trade agreement by fall of 2025. The leaders committed to designate senior representatives to advance these negotiations and to ensure that the trade relationship fully reflects the aspirations of the compact. To advance this innovative wide ranging BTA, the US and India will take an integrated approach to strengthen and deepen bilateral trades across the goods and services sectors and will work towards increasing market access, reducing tariff and non tariff barriers, and deepening supply chain integration. The leaders welcomed early steps to demonstrate mutual commitment to address bilateral trade barriers. The United States welcomed India's recent measures to lower tariffs on US products of interest in the areas of bourbon, motorcycles, ICT products, and metals, as well as measures to enhance market access for agricultural products of USA like alfalfa, hay, and duck meat, and medical devices. India also expressed appreciation for US measures taken to enhance exports of Indian mangoes and pomegranates to the United States. Both the sides also pledged to collaborate to enhance bilateral trade by increasing US exports of industrial goods to India and Indian exports of labor intensive manufactured products to United States. The two sides will also work together to increase trade in agricultural goods. Finally, the leaders committed to drive opportunities for US and Indian companies to make greenfield investments in high value industries in each other's countries. In this regard, the leaders welcomed ongoing investments by Indian companies worth approximately $7.35 billion, such as those by Hindalco's Novelis in finished aluminium goods at their state of the art facilities in Alabama and Kentucky, JSW in steel manufacturing operations at Texas and Ohio, Epsilon Advanced Materials in the manufacture of critical battery materials in North Carolina, and Jubilant Pharma in the manufacture of injectables in Washington. These investments support over 3,000 high quality jobs for local families. Energy security. The leaders agreed that energy security is fundamental to economic growth, social well being, and technical innovation in both countries. They underscored the importance of US India collaboration to ensure energy affordability, reliability, and availability, and stable energy markets. Realizing the consequential role of the US and India as leading producers and consumers in driving the global energy landscape, the leaders recommitted to the US India Energy Security Partnership, including in oil, gas, and civil nuclear energy. The leaders underscored the importance of enhancing the production of hydrocarbons to ensure better global energy prices and secure affordable and reliable energy access for their citizens. The leaders also underscored the value of strategic petroleum reserves to preserve economic stability during crisis and resolved to work with key partners to expand strategic oil reserve arrangements. In this context, the US side affirmed its firm support for India to join the International Energy Agency as a full member. The leaders reaffirmed their commitment to increase energy trade as part of efforts to ensure energy security and to establish US as a leading supplier of crude oil and petroleum products and liquefied natural gas to India in line with growing needs and priorities of our dynamic economies. They underscored the tremendous scope and opportunity to increase trade in hydrocarbon sector, including natural gas, ethane, and petroleum products, as part of efforts to ensure supply diversification and energy security. The leaders committed to enhance investments, particularly in oil and gas infrastructure, and facilitate greater cooperation between the energy companies of the two countries. The leaders announced their commitments to fully realize the US India 123 Civil Nuclear Agreement by moving forward with the plans to work together to build US designed nuclear reactors in India through large scale localization and possibly technology transfer. Both sides welcomed the recent budget announcement by Government of India to take up amendments to the Atomic Energy Act and Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act for nuclear reactors, and further decided to establish bilateral arrangements in accordance with CLNDA that would address the issue of civil liability and facilitate the collaboration of Indian and US industry in the production and deployment of nuclear reactors. This path forward will unlock plans to build large US designed reactors and enable collaboration to develop, deploy, and scale up nuclear power generation with advanced smaller modular reactors. The leaders announced the launch of U.S. India Trust, transforming the relationship utilizing strategic technology initiative, which will catalyze government to government, academia, and private sector collaboration to promote application of critical and emerging technologies in areas like defense, artificial intelligence, semiconductor, quantum, biotechnology, energy, and space, while encouraging the use of verified technology vendors and ensuring sensitive technologies are protected. As a central pillar of the Trust Initiative, the leaders committed to work with the US and Indian private industry to put forward a US India roadmap on accelerating AI infrastructure by end of the year, identifying constraints to financing, building, powering, and connecting large scale US origin AI infrastructure in India with milestones and future actions. The US and India will work together to enable industry partnerships and investments in next generation data centers, cooperation on development and access to compute and processors for AI, for innovations in AI models, and building AI applications for solving societal challenges while addressing protections and controls necessary to protect these technologies and reduce regulatory barriers. The leaders announced the launch of Indus Innovation, a new innovation bridge modeled after the successful Indus X platform that will advance US India industry and academic partnerships and foster investments in space, energy, and other emerging technologies to maintain US and India leadership in innovation and to meet the needs of the 21st century. The leaders also reinforced their commitment to IndusX initiative, which facilitates partnerships between US and Indian defense companies, investors, and universities to produce critical capability for our militaries and welcomed the next summit in 2025. The leaders also committed, as part of the Trust Initiative, to build trusted and resilient supply chains, including for semiconductors, critical minerals, advanced materials, and pharmaceuticals. As part of this effort, the leaders plan to encourage public and private investments to expand Indian manufacturing capacity, including in the US for active pharmaceutical ingredients for critical medicines. These investments will create good jobs, diversify vital supply chains, and reduce the risk of life saving drug shortages in both the United States and India. Recognizing the strategic importance of critical minerals for emerging technologies and advanced manufacturing, India and the United States will accelerate collaboration in research and development and promote investment across the entire critical mineral value chain as well as through mineral security partnership of which both the India and United States are members. Both countries have committed to intensifying efforts to deepen cooperation in exploration, beneficiation and processing as well as recycling technologies of critical minerals. To this end, the leaders announced the launch of Strategic Mineral Recovery Initiative, a new US India program to recover and process critical minerals, including lithium, cobalt, and rare earths from heavy industries like aluminium, coal mining, and oil and gas. The leaders hailed 2025 as a pioneer year for US India civil space cooperation, with plans for a NASA ISRO effort through Axiom to bring the first Indian astronaut to International Space Station, and early launch of the joint NISAR mission, the first of its kind to systematically map changes to the Earth's surface using dual radars. The leaders called for more collaboration in space exploration, including on long duration human spaceflight missions, spaceflight safety, and sharing of expertise and professional exchanges in emerging areas, including planetary protection. The leaders committed to further commercial space collaboration through industry engagements in conventional and emerging areas such as connectivity, advanced spaceflight, satellite and space launch systems, space sustainability, space tourism, and advanced space manufacturing. The leaders underscored the value of deepening ties between the US and Indian scientific research communities, announcing a partnership between the US National Science Foundation and Indian Anusandhan National Research Foundation in researching critical and emerging technologies. This partnership builds on ongoing collaborations between the US National Science Foundation and several Indian science agencies to enable joint research in the areas of semiconductors, connected vehicles, machine learning, next generation telecommunications, intelligent transportation systems, and future biomanufacturing. The leaders determined that the government's redouble efforts to address export controls, enhance high technology commerce, and reduce barriers to technology transfer between the two countries while addressing technology security. The leaders also resolved to work together to counter the common challenge of unfair practices and export controls by third parties seeking to exploit over concentration of critical supply chains, multilateral cooperation. The leaders reaffirmed that a close partnership between the US and India is central to a free, open, peaceful, and prosperous Indo Pacific region. As Quad partners, the leaders reiterated that this partnership is underpinned by the recognition of ASEAN's centrality, adherence to international law and good governance, support for safety and freedom of navigation, overflight and other lawful use of the seas, and unimpeded lawful commerce, and advocacy for peaceful resolution of maritime disputes in accordance with international law. Prime Minister Modi looks forward to hosting President Trump in New Delhi for the Quad Leaders Summit, ahead of which the leaders will activate new Quad initiatives on shared airlift capacities to support civilian response to natural disasters and maritime patrols to improve interoperability. The leaders resolved to increase cooperation, enhance diplomatic consultations, and increase tangible collaboration with partners in the Middle East. They highlighted the importance of investing in critical infrastructure and economic corridors to advancing peace and security in the region. The leaders plan to convene partners from India, Middle East, Europe corridor, and I2U2 group within the next 6 months in order to announce new initiatives in 2025. The US appreciates India's role as a developmental humanitarian assistance and net security provider in the Indian Ocean region. In this context, the leaders committed to deepen bilateral dialogue and cooperation across the vast Indian Ocean region and launch the Indian Ocean Strategic Venture, a new bilateral whole of government forum to advance coordinated investments in economic connectivity and commerce. Supporting greater Indian Ocean connectivity, the leaders also welcomed Meta's announcement of a multi billion, multi year investment in undersea cable project that will begin work this year and ultimately stretch over 50,000 kilometers to connect five continents and strengthen global digital highways in the Indian Ocean region and beyond. India intends to invest in maintenance, repair, and financing of undersea cables in the Indian Ocean using trusted vendors. The leaders recognize the need to build new plurilateral anchor partnerships in Western Indian Ocean, Middle East, and Indo Pacific to grow relationships, commerce, and cooperation across defense technology, energy, and critical minerals. The leaders expect to announce new partnership initiatives across these sub regions by fall of 2025. The leaders also resolved to advance military cooperation in multinational settings to advance global peace and security. The leaders applaud India's decision to take on a future leadership role in combined maritime forces naval task force to help secure sea lanes in the Arabian Sea. The leaders reaffirmed that the global scourge of terrorism must be fought and terrorists' safe havens eliminated from every corner of the world. They committed to strengthen cooperation against terrorist threats from groups including Al Qaeda, ISIS, Jaish e Mohammed, and Lashkar-e-Taiba in order to prevent heinous acts like the attacks in Mumbai on 26/11 and Abbey Gate bombing in Afghanistan on 26 August 2021. Recognizing a shared desire to bring to justice those who would harm our citizens, the US announced that the extradition to India of Tahavur Rana has been approved. The leaders further called upon Pakistan to expeditiously bring to justice the perpetrators of the 26/11 Mumbai at Pathankot attacks and ensure that its territory is not used to carry out cross border terrorist attacks. The leaders also pledged to work together to prevent proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems and to deny such access to weapons by terrorists and non-state actors. People to people cooperation. President Trump and Modi noted the importance of advancing the people to people ties between the two countries. In this context, they noted that more than 3 lakh strong Indian student community contributes over $8 billion annually to US economy and helped create a number of direct and indirect jobs. They recognize that the talent flow and movement of students, research and employees has mutually benefited both countries. Recognizing importance of international academic collaborations in fostering innovation, improving learning and development of a future ready workforce, both leaders resolved to strengthen collaborations between higher education institutions through efforts such as joint or dual degree and twinning programs, establishing joint centers of excellence, and setting up offshore campus of premier education institutions of US in India. Both leaders emphasized that the evolution of the into a global workplace calls for putting in place innovative, mutually advantageous, and secure mobility frameworks. In this regard, the leaders committed to streamlining avenues for legal mobility of students and professionals and facilitating short term tourist and business travel while also aggressively addressing illegal immigration and human trafficking by taking strong action against bad actors criminal facilitators, and illegal immigration networks to promote mutual security for both countries. The leaders also committed to strengthen law enforcement cooperation to take decisive action against illegal immigration networks, organized crime syndicates, including narco terrorists, human and armed traffickers, as well as other elements who threaten public and diplomatic safety and security, and the sovereignty and territorial integrity of both nations. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi pledged to sustain high level engagement between our governments, industries, and academic institutions and realize their ambitious vision for an enduring India US partnership that advances the aspirations of our people for a bright and prosperous future, serves the global good, and contributes to a free and open Indo Pacific.